Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cretaceous period. We're getting a little bit of a late start today because it's just a fun day today. And I won't go into why, but it's a fun day. It's just a fun day. It just feels like a fun day. I woke up this morning.
I'm petty as hell. Biden Harris.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to start the announcements off, first of all, by saying fuck yes. And then the second announcement is happy birthday to Mary Chifo, who is a really good friend of ours and just one of the most delightful persons ever, and is a huge supporter of Eliza and Sam, and we absolutely love her to death. And she's been a fan of the Stream Punks for a while now, and she was grateful. She was gracious enough to come and bless our Blood of the Void stream. I had no idea she was doing that. So our very first episode, she stayed in the stream the whole time and watched us, and we absolutely love the Mother of Klingons. So thank you so much, Mary, and happy birthday. We hope you get absolutely spoiled rotten. And another birthday today to someone who is incredibly dear to our hearts, who we miss terribly, who we all know and love dearly. He captured our hearts the moment he started playing a certain Sontaran in our Doctor Who game. He is the first librarian of the TARDIS. We absolutely love you to death, and happy birthday, Darren DePaul. We miss you, and we cannot wait till we get to see you again. Happy birthday, Darren. Make sure to flood Darren's Twitter today with just enormous amounts of Twitter love. I promise you he gets emotional about it, and it's worth it every time. Every time.
Sontar Ha.
Sontar Ha. Sontar Claus.
Right now.
You remember that Christmas episode gets me emotional just thinking about that. Or that great moment in Shield of Tomorrow where I snuck Darren into the crossover episode where I snuck Darren into the studio. And I swear to God, Gina and Sam losing their goddamn minds and watching Amy on the verge of tears was one of the greatest things that ever happened on that show. And I
remember at the end of that show when you asked us to send in our like most treasured memories, and we had to like do a second time over because so many of us picked that moment. Everyone picked that moment.
And I was like, guys, I need more clips. It can't all just be Darren.
Sorry, this is the Loving Darren DePaul show.
So happy birthday, Darren. We love you so damn much. Everyone's favorite uncle on the internet. The other couple of announcements that I have to make is this coming Thursday at 6 p.m. here on QueueTimes. I know that cuts into our Critical Role time, so don't worry, VOD Squad. We're all with you. But at 6 p.m. on this coming Thursday, you will be able to catch Spy Game by the Stream Punks. Part 1 of 2 will be going up, and you might see a few of us popping into chat to say hi from time to time. And I got to say, Spy Game is a rad 5e adaptation. Really, we had a blast playing it. Super easy to adapt that rule set. And I'm particularly impressed with like the hacking rules. I thought that was pretty awesome. Although no, I can't say anymore. No, I can't say anymore. I have to wait until that episode's done. So yes, next Thursday. The other announcement that I had is next Saturday, here on Predation, Secrets of Silvercreek, we're doing a dice giveaway. Die Hard Dice is teaming up with QueueTimes, and we are doing a giveaway. So there will be some dice thrown at y'all's faces out of love. Stream Punks are going to pelt you with dice, and you will enjoy it. So definitely, it's just another reason to watch us because we throw dice at you. So. Those are all of my announcements this morning. And of course, Clear Skies on Monday. But those are all of my announcements. Does anybody else have any announcements that they need to get to? I feel like Gina's got a puppet show coming out soon that Gina should talk about.
Maybe.
She's got a puppet voice prepared and everything.
That's just me in the morning.
That's me in the morning. Oh, sorry.
Yes. So on the Pixel Circus channel, I'm going to be running a 3-shot puppet RPG. The official name is Total Puppet Chaos, or TPK for short. And it is going to be a Lasers and Feelings redo, and everyone is going to be playing gods. And they don't know what they're going to look like. That is going to be the fun thing. Everyone is going to be unveiling their puppet live on stream.
Oh.
And I've been working really hard on this, so please go give them a follow and please watch, because I've made a lot of puppets and I'm really proud of them. So,
you're a puppet making machine.
Yeah.
A puppet master.
I'm excited. I will be the puppet master.
Any other announcements that we have today?
Oh, that's next week, by the way.
That's next week.
Next week, the 13th, next Friday.
All right.
Check it out. I don't know yet. Probably the same time that Failed Save was, so check it out. Probably at 6:30 is what I'm going to assume is when we're still keeping our time slot.
Right on.
You had me at Puppet Gods. Dungeons & Dragons: The Dark and Wish with the fantastic Sam DeLev, also returning, should be this Thursday at 5 Pacific on WotC's official Twitch. And I myself am doing things somewhere, sometimes 7 days a week. So just follow me on Twitter and you'll see it. But right now, mostly today, I'm just trolling people with Hamilton lines. You don't have the votes. You don't have the votes. Okay.
I do want to tease that B-Dave and the group have been talking about us returning to Vampire. So stay tuned, because possibilities are on the horizon. And I think that's everything. Okay. I got in trouble the last time I did the gag where I'm like, I think that's all of our announcements. So instead, I'm going to ask Sam if they would like to announce anything before we begin our game today.
Oh, in fact, thank you so very much, Eric, for that consideration, that thoughtfulness. This is why you shall be destroyed. But until such a time, we're going to game together as Dinos, and it's a really, 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 really good Saturday, and I'm really, 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 really excited.
Let's go back to the Cretaceous period. Welcome back to the Cretaceous period. We are going to jump into today's game. We left off in the aftermath of a really dangerous situation. And since that moment, things have only gotten more dangerous. I would say the stakes have gone up, not necessarily clear on exactly what's going to be happening next. But here's what we do know. That because of a very mischievous Bambi raptor named Clever, the party managed to get its hands on a recovered data pad from the doomed expedition Sati sent from Kaleno City to find Silvercreek. The butterflies intercepted this expedition on the way back to the central city of Kaleno. And while these four intrepid adventurers were tracking down this party in order to probably having to make the really tough call of stopping them from returning to Kaleno City, they discovered the decision had been made for them. The butterflies intercepted this scouting party, and according to their leader, most, but not all of them, were destroyed. In that attack, they recovered a couple of the dinosaurs, which they have liberated from a lot of their bindings and whatnot. It's difficult to set these animals that have been bred and raised in captivity with humans back out into the wild. However, the butterflies do it anyway. Being fervent believers in the natural cycles of things, they do show compassion towards dinosaurs, but their entire philosophy banks on the fact that humankind needs to impact this world as little as possible. And sometimes that even means taking the things that are destroying this world and turning it against itself. So the butterflies, as a quick recap, are a faction here in Predation. And they believe that humankind needs to perish when the asteroid hits. And when it does, as little of humanity needs to be left behind as possible in order to protect the future. This means that they typically are humans that side on eschewing technologies and trying to live a little more naturally, to have as low an impact as possible. That doesn't mean they forsake technology. They still use it, especially when they can use it to destroy other technology. There's an opportunity to destroy technology with technology, they'll take it. They're not fools. They know that only certain things are going to destroy a metal wall, for example. That doesn't mean that they're not dangerous to other humans either. Sati has had a problem with the butterflies for years now. However, the butterflies, in your contact with them, you discovered that Echo has a past with the butterflies, not just with the butterflies faction, but with the leader, the queen of the butterflies, who is one of the most notorious people alive today in La Media. Her name is Aldane, queen of the butterflies. And Aldane was accommodating to you all at first, but the more she started asking questions about what Sati was doing here, and the less she got answered, the more agitated she became. And it seemed like her frustrations were directed specifically at Echo, and those frustrations just kept growing. Echo's been keeping secrets, apparently, which has led to some strain between Echo and Penny. But the good news is...
And clever.
And clever. And clever. The good news, though, is Steenie is out of danger and is on the mend. Steenie had a brush with death after getting a blast at point-blank range. Right now, where we're picking up is the morning after. The threats have been made. You had your conversation on the edge of the campsite, Echo, and Aldane made it very clear to you that she will do what she must as a butterfly to protect the future. And if it means destroying the bunker, the Sati site that Silvercreek is built on, she implied that she would be willing to do that. Interestingly enough, she did keep things vague, but she kept trying to press upon you that you're putting her in an impossible position, which led to a big fight between the two of you. Probably the worst fight the two of you have had since you left the butterflies. And now you have that to contend with, because she does know the location of Silvercreek. The butterflies always have. What they didn't know is why Sati would want it. Now, the four of you have learned why Sati wants it. And holy shit, it could be the biggest discovery since Sati came back. Since the Great Howling, since the last commute, when time travel abruptly came screaming to a halt, when there was this, yes, Jody, massive howling sound splitting the skies that caused the time travel gateway that everyone used in Kaleno City to suddenly cease functioning. A mystery that's never been understood. Looming over everyone's head every single day since that day over 80 years ago has been the impending doom of the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction event. And you have all just discovered a datapad that seems to hint that Silvercreek is built on a Sati bunker that was specifically designed for keeping its eye on the sky and may have data, precious data, about what the future could hold. That implication is not lost on anybody once you realize what this is. Now, if I remember correctly, Echo, you returned the datapad, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, but I do know that River tampered with it, but did give it back. Yeah.
River locked it down.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Tamper.
What's that?
River tamper.
Oh, a pop culture reference. Yay.
So River wiped the data pad so that what was on it would not be discovered. It's the next morning, and by the time everyone is waking up, a few things are clear. The butterflies are on the move. Everyone's breaking camp. Sun has just started to crack over the top of the mountaintops of Laramidia. These mountaintops, which are impossibly huge at this period in history, are going to eventually become the Colorado Rockies. But for now, they're great primeval mountains that stretch towards the sky. And right now, it's casting these gorgeous golden beams down through these rock crevices into this ancient jungle that surrounds all of you. Tego, you're laying on your back, and next to you, with her head on your chest, is a Karn that you met recently.
Biblically.
Yeah. She's been laying there looking at the sky as the two of you are just naked as the day you were born underneath this great blue sky that during the sunrise. As the sun has started to come up, you can hear the clicking, purring sounds of, well, Steenie is clearly feeling better.
After eating everything she could find in the tent, has stayed on the brush, but her nose is out, so she can still smell you, but isn't looking.
It's the scene in Jurassic Park if it was cute.
Right.
If it was just a snoot that popped out.
You just hear small, whisper snores.
Nose whistling from a fairy. You see the look on the woman's face. She kind of glances. I believe her name is Neri. Is that correct?
Violet is what I have written down.
Violet, that's what I have. I didn't actually. Yes, I have her first and last name here. I didn't actually. When I came up with her name on the spot, I didn't actually write down who the hell I was talking about. So I was like, "Who the hell is?" Oh, right.
It's college all over again, huh?
Yeah, I know. Welcome to Panting NPCs as a GM 101. I'll be your host, Eric Campbell.
That's why we all take notes together.
Violet glances over at you and she kind of does the chin nod, but you already know what she's trying to draw your attention to. It's the Dakota raptor that's sticking her head out from the bushes about 10 feet away. There's just this snout that's kind of got a crest of feathers running alongside the jawline sticking out. Just.
She is a remarkable apex predator.
That's Violet just makes that noise of like acknowledgement, but also like a laugh smile without opening her mouth. And she immediately gets up. Again, when Violet gets up and you see the full length of her muscled body, you can see all the scars from the past that she informed you about. She did go ahead and tell you that she, when she was much younger, was a silverback, which was a big revelation.
So she and I kind of have a similar backstory. I'm looking at her body for any similar scars. Did like clearly a bite from the same animal or a wound from the same weapon? Like, because Tego's all scarred up too. So I'm seeing if there's any that we've got that are the same.
You definitely see lots of scars and bite marks for sure, especially because she in particular has an adoration for the dinosaurs, as you all know, and has been like cuddling up to dinosaurs. She has like that sort of puppy love. And as a result, it looks like her body has accumulated quite the love bite map all over her arms and her thighs. But you do also see the somewhat chilling scars of what look like forcibly removed cybernetics. Like the dotting marks of where some cybernetics were probably screwed into the actual bone structure of her body to enforce it. You can see there's clear signs of like a real patch job of a skin graft done on her right arm. You can see all sorts of changes all over her body. And you can see that like the way that her skin has grown out, again, because this is, it is important to note that even though this is taking place in the Cretaceous period, a lot of the tech that y'all use is highly advanced and on the border of fantastic technology that's intermingled with lost technologies. So you can see a lot of the healing that's done. Some of it is quite spectacular. And looking at the depth of the scars, she looks like she has probably been through things that may have killed people who might have been weaker than her. judging from the tracks all over her. And she's just totally comfortable and starts to put on her.
Before she has it all covered up, I just like reach out and I touch the biggest scar that she's got that I think, you know, is probably the same as mine. You know?
Okay.
Like
she pauses for a second and she stares at you instead of watching your hand.
And just touch it and I'm like, run one kind of down my side and I'm all like, caught me flat-footed on a riverbank. Went to get some water, lost track of where I was, and the next thing I knew was nothing but teeth and claws all over me.
I had come upon a kill that I thought was unclaimed. It was claimed.
Ain't no unclaimed kills out here. Violet. When I start unwrapping my hands, which I basically never do because I have those metal plates along my knuckles with the leather straps. And I just start unwrapping them. And I show her where my hands are scratched and they look like they're actually burned. Like it was not just hitting something, but hitting something that was hot. In his first two knuckles are actually merged into one big one. Like people that have spent a lot of time hitting things, it starts to sort of like fuse together. And it's actually when he tries to extend his fingers all the way, they don't even go all the way out. There's always like a very slight curl. And I show it to her and I say, they tried to turn us into something terrible and we both chose something different for ourselves. Whatever's happening, whatever's coming next, whatever's falling out of the sky or crashing out of them bushes, they couldn't turn us into something that we didn't want to be.
She nods very slowly. She finishes clasping her leggings on, and then she squats down next to you and puts her hand on the side of your face, and she looks you in the eyes for a moment, Tego, and says, Aldane can be reasoned with. She tries to pretend like she is the fanatic that some of those in my faction wish that she was, but she can be reasoned with. I tell you this because, Tego, I'm almost certain that at some point we are going to cross paths again. I don't know under what circumstances. And I want to not have to kill each other.
I would, I'd rather avoid that as well. And I stand up and start putting my stuff on, and I say, realize I had some harsh words for your lady and your movement here, but the truth is you were right about something. If y'all wanted anything we had, y'all by all measure had the force to take it up to and include in our lives. So the simple fact that we're walking out of here to perhaps meet again somewhere down the line proves she ain't all gone. 'Cause something tells me we know a few people out there in the bush that would not have been quite so merciful.
There's a brief haunted, like in like that perfect anime fashion. There's a brief haunted look in her eyes as you kind of reference something from the past, and she nods. And she says, "Come on, I'll get you breakfast."
He does start getting dressed. He just says, just one last thing. Down the line, if it does come to that and we're on the wrong sides of things, you got to come from me. You won't hold back, all right?
We'll see.
And then go with her to get breakfast. Actually, I still don't want to leave Steenie, believe it or not. I walk like I'm about to, and then I'm like, Actually,
the question is, are you leaving Steenie? So Steenie, at this point, if you remember correctly, because of the menstruations you've got since you arrived here in this camp, you got back 6 points to your pool. So Steenie could actually be moving around right now.
If I will say, if she's sleeping, I just lean down and I go right next to her head, and I'm like, "Oh, Steenie's gonna get away from me, Steenie! No, look, he's gonna get loose."
Steenie might bonk the bottom of your chin like when a golden retriever just like boom,
like an uppercut from a 300-pound Dakota Raptor. Bam!
And then just like a lot of tongue and eye dilation and is ready to go. Is like what I miss kind of thing.
For the love of God.
Yeah, still arm around the neck, still maybe 10% less rough since I know she's injured, but it's like I actually don't want
less rough.
I don't want to hold back too much and make her, because I know how animals are. Like if I go too easy on her, she'll feel weak. You know what I mean? So it's one of those like
Steenie is full parent comes home from a long trip video on YouTube levels of like overexcited because so much attention and so many smells.
Yep. Then with my homie, we go get breakfast.
Okay. I'm not, this is purely narrative, so don't think I'm going to throw any like penalties at you for this, but River, I'm going to say that you have had an enormous amount of difficulty sleeping last night. Your wiping of the data pad. The thing was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Rave, because this is River's you, but from discussions we had when we were talking about the creation of River, it seems to me like she always knew that someday Sati was going to make an appearance in her life again, no matter how far across the continent she ran. And it feels like realizing what Silvercreek is built on is starting to make you, I would say there is this energy of excitement. Like, my God, the implications of what you guys could uncover here. But also the panic that you might start. There's so much that could happen, that could go wrong or right. But there's this vague sense that you never got away from Sati, that you ran from one Sati settlement to the next. And it just feels like this whole time you thought Silvercreek was this new home, a world away from this old world. And all this time you've been sitting on this gold mine.
I think like half of the restlessness is also like, maybe I should keep running. And I think that like there's like, at least if it's like an 8-hour night sleep, like that first hour of the 8 is like, would it make more sense to run? And then like this is home. And so I think that hours 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are like, no, like obviously like we buckle down, but like I have no clue how it's gonna go. And like honestly, like the odds are not in our favor. So it's also her trying to come up with like just making peace with that part of it too, is like, I recognize that we might not come out of this alive. And you know what? Like, I'm going to be okay with that because like Silvercreek is the first home I've had in a very long time. It's the first home that like Nine and I have had. And I think that we're going to go down with our ship. And so I think
ominously, while you're laying on your back staring up at the night sky in the early morning hours, it's 4 a.m.-ish, while you're having these thoughts, desperately trying to find sleep. Ominously, you see a shooting star overhead against the black drop of the night sky. Just a brief, something that's so beautiful and innocent, carrying something so much more significant.
I think she and you're not supposed to repeat shooting star wishes, but so between us, the wish is for 9 to at least get out of this alive. If like no one else does, like let 9 get out.
Say 9
a few feet away is just 9.
Yeah, snoring just completely, tongue lolled out. Dreaming about eating things.
Occasionally, like licking the dirt.
Oh my God. River sleeps right through that. In fact, like she can't sleep without that sound. But yeah.
I hope we reach a point at some point in the development of Stream Punks where we can sell 9 plushies.
Yep.
I just want a big dopey looking ankylosaur.
There'll be a limited series of 9 plushies.
Yeah.
True. I feel like when he sleeps, he's surprisingly compact because it's just like I feel like a little kid that just runs till they exhaust himself, and then he just boom straight down, and he's so heavy, and his legs just kind of come in,
play
like,
out
very low to the ground.
Wait, he's a loaf dino?
Dinos.
Yeah. You got to keep his squishy bits safe. Yeah, he's just like low pro.
Ankylosaur.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Sleeping happily.
What is Penny doing through the wee hours of the night? Does Penny go to sleep? Is that something that they can do, or what does Penny do?
Yeah, Penny usually sleeps pretty well, just like in the cosmos of things. And so whenever it is they dozed off, there is definitely a black mark on the side of their face where drool mixed with charcoal.
Right. Hey, real quick, before you continue, could you please show us that picture again?
No.
I want to see it. I want everyone to see it in case y'all missed it.
It won't even...
I've thought about it multiple times this week.
Yes, because Sam drew something in character with Penny, and I want to see it again because it's so fucking good.
They've been spending real life XP on this for a while.
Yes. Now. Is that in frame? I think it is. It's so good.
There it is.
So good.
That is really great.
For what it's worth, I didn't intend on like having a prop in that scene. Penny draws.
Penny draws.
So they're there, which means that they're probably within like 20 feet of Violet Strike. I don't know where Clever is exactly. I have a couple memories of waking up, removing the edged weapon that she was like trying to purloin, putting it back in the sheath and then going back to sleep. Like I did that at least a couple times this morning, but like I can fall asleep again very easily after that. Right now, I'm pretty much just running through rank. How stupid are these plans? Kind of plans? Like, well, if they could destroy the bunker, these butterflies, they must have like explosives and we could blow our way in and get the thing. Like that, Penny is trying to find solutions on a certain order, but also second guessing themselves about whether any of their solutions make any kind of sense, because clearly they're on a different plane than everybody else about this stuff.
Legit.
I think Clever, you're right, Clever is off doing her own little thing, but I also think that Clever is exactly that kind of pet that wakes you up at like 5:37 exactly every morning because it is breakfast time right now on the dot.
Yo!
And yo, hey.
Parent!
Wake up.
Pippa, are you awake? Are you awake?
Yep,
Are you awake?
yep.
Are you awake? What about now? Are you awake? Okay, I'll leave you alone for 2 minutes.
It's the sitting on the chest.
It was fun.
We waited way too long to play this game.
Oh, yeah.
We waited way too long to play Predation, y'all. Y'all were born to play dinosaurs.
But she sits on your chest and like stares at your face and kind of just like with her wings kind of like pats you like until you wake up. It's like
you can feel the brushing of feathers on the side of your face as this Bambi wrapper. I mean, it must feel like needles touching like your chest as this Bambi raptor is kind of standing on you and just staring down at you with that lizard head just kind of craning a little bit, that in a bird-like fashion, how it just kind of those like quick blinks.
Imagine it's like when a cat is kneading you and you're just like, ow, love, ow,
Yeah,
ow,
I love
love,
you, ow,
ow.
God damn it, I love you. Please don't stop.
Yeah, so Penny, before opening their eyes, pat, let the pat go all the way down her body and then just smush her like a pet into their chest. Because, yes, I will get the breakfast because you were very good and I haven't forgotten. But first you are squished into me. Oh no, help. And Clever has a bit of like a death before dishonor kind of vibe for a minute. Like she definitely does not enjoy the smush.
Yes, there is a definite like struggle, like I will go down, die, and then she's like, oh no, wait, I kind of like this. And then it's the purr.
Yeah.
And the cuddle.
Okay.
And then I hold her smushed, twist a little bit. And I grab from my pack a little bit of that spice fish. Because one, still getting the high value treats. Still getting very high value. Still very, very, very good, clever raptor. And two, I don't want to move. I just kind of want to be here for a moment before everything else in the world goes to hell.
Clever's got her spice fish. She don't care.
Yep. I also kind of want to see the face she makes when the spice hits again because it's really funny. Yep, that one. I live for it. I didn't even know I loved this, but feeding Clever spicy things is the best bad idea.
All right. While this has been going on, I'm super curious to find out what Echo has been doing since your big fight last night.
So yeah, no, Echo hasn't slept. Echo was snuggled into Goose for a really long time, to sort of give the illusion of I need sleep space, like one minute, but stayed with the group. Was probably really relieved at the sound of Penny falling asleep. Once the sketching sounds stopped, knows River's awake, but there's definitely a sort of like understanding of let peace happen right now. Like we're in our own heads about something. Like we both need to be awake and alone. And I think I would have gone at some point when hustle and bustle is starting to happen around her, when people are starting to wake up and starting to, light their fires to cook food or what have you. She's going to go find Neri, which is why you thought Neri earlier. Which is the only other person she trusts really,
right?
In this group that isn't Aldane.
You know that Neri is
and
here.
I don't even know. I don't know if she's here. I don't know.
Well, what you will find out is that they actually, when you talk to one of the butterflies, you approach this tall, lanky man who's got the paints all over him, the butterfly insignias and whatnot, kind of decked out in knives and stone weaponry. As you approach him and you say the word Neri, his eyes, he kind of looks at you, his head cranes back a little bit, and he nods and says, "They're over there," and points.
Okay. Thank you.
You see one of the structures that has not been taken down yet. It looks like This one is a little more elaborate, and it looks like there are things hanging from the outside of it. Maybe like bones hanging up that are kind of dangling down like wind chimes in front of where this sort of tent-like structure has been erected with large leaves. And it's a very natural, there's no synthetics being used here. So it's a very natural looking structure of the surrounding area. It's also easy to camouflage. So it's kind of like this big half a tent sort of like picked up. And you can see all the foliage just drenched off of the sides of these great logs and sticks that are kind of surrounding. And the smoldering campfire that has since gone out probably in the wee hours of the morning. And sitting on the other side of it, you can see a figure completely shrouded and just huddled around in front of this fire.
Are they cooking?
All by themselves.
Are they cooking?
No, doesn't look like it. Looks like they're just sitting there.
Okay. I'll walk up behind them and kind of go to a full sort of like cannonball squat next to them. Just say, mind if I join you?
I've been waiting.
Waddle a little closer to the fire and to them.
Are you going to start the fire again?
Doesn't know if they mean metaphorically, so grabs a log next to the fire and throws it in.
And you hear the vaguely feminine sounding voice from behind the hood just say, "That's what I thought."
I kind of put a little bit of my weight on their shoulder.
She still hasn't looked at you.
No.
When you put your weight on her shoulder, you feel she feels thin, like bony when you lean against her. It's enough that it's, you feel that sort of sharpness in your jaw as you can lean up against her.
Are you ill?
No, not ill.
Do you need breakfast? I can go fetch some food.
In answer to that, she holds her hand out, and you see her hand, too, is slender. Her nails are long. They're not trimmed at all. In fact, they look somewhat wild, yellowed, and grown out. She holds open her hand, and in them you can see what looks like little vertebrae, bones kind of scattered throughout her palm. She holds them. And she closes the hand slowly and holds it out over, like in front of you. And as you hold your palm out, she drops them gently into your hand and then closes your hands together. And then she turns and looks at you. There's nothing unusual necessarily about what you see, but this does not look like the person you used to know. There's a different look in their eyes. Their face is somewhat gaunt. And you can see the strands of curly blonde hair that have gone unkempt. You can also see strange writings all over the side of her face in paint, going all the way like script, going from forehead all the way down to the chin on all sides. You don't recognize what language it is, if it's a language at all. And when you glance at it, you realize they're actually tattooed. They're not actually paint. It looks like she probably had them tattooed onto her face, which is new.
Yeah.
And closer inspection would indicate that they may actually go all the way down her neck and disappear into the folds of this synthetic-looking robe. When she looks at you, her eyes almost seem far away, and she asks you again, "Now, are you going to start the fire?" And then she grips your wrists for a second. Throw.
Throw?
She shakes your wrists.
Can I open my fingers just a little to see what she put in my hands?
There's bones in your hand. All of the little vertebrae pieces and like teeth.
I kind of spread my knees to give a spot on the ground, and I spray them in front of us.
When you spray them in front of you, you are surprised by the ferocity in which she suddenly lunges forward, kicking up dirt, and throws herself on top of the bones, like on all fours. Like she immediately brings her face right up to the ground and starts looking at them almost feverishly. Like an animal attacking a fresh kill. She's all over what you just threw onto the ground. You kind of flinch at her reaction, and you can hear like the exertion in her breath as she drops down low and just... And then she starts poring over them and looking at them.
I've been sort of on my feet in a huddled position, and I'll sort of like back away and sit down. Like this feels like the kid is just handed in their homework and they have to watch the teacher grade it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, this is happening, and I'm gonna hear what the hell is going on, you know?
Yeah. Okay. To sort of validate what you're thinking, Gina, this is not the person you left behind.
Right? No.
Last time you saw her, she was not acting like this at all.
No, I don't. She did not do these sort of prophecies. This is not something she would have ever believed in. But because she believes it, I'm going to believe it right now, because everything is really kind of strange. There's a lot that's been strange. So
yeah. As she pours over these bones that you've cast, you see her just eyeing them intensely until she finally glances up at you and says, "You and your new family are going to tell us what the future is. That is all this says." And she scoops up dirt and bones and just drops it. "For weeks now, I have not been able to see what happens."
I crawl closer to her. So am I supposed to start the fire or not?
She shakes her head. "I don't know. I've only been Osteon for so long. I'm still learning how to read through the time anomalies. Sometimes the visions come to me when I'm awake, but most of the time I have to look. You have a very interesting animal over there, by the way," she says with an amused grin, nodding to Nine, who's just like 100 yards away. You can hear this ankylosaur that has the ability to sniff out time anomalies, just sleeping soundly, rumbling the tents around them.
Yeah, it's been pretty wonderful since River and Nine showed up.
That's when you see the one that you left so long ago. She wraps her hands into your hands and smiles at you and says, "Sometimes when I was sleeping, I could see you. I could see you walking with Penny. I could see you being happy. I never worried about you."
I dreamed about you too. I never really got to say thank you. I am happy, and you helped me get there.
I can't see the future. That means we're about to reach a point where a choice is going to have to be made.
Hey, Neri. I cup her face and I say, you don't have to worry anymore. Like you said, we're going to tell you what the future is, remember?
And she nods slowly. And she says, how did your sister take your return?
You know how stubborn she is. But she's still in there. Whether she likes it or not.
That's a really good assessment. She is still in there. But, Echo, she's done things. She's done terrible things since you were last with us. She doesn't show Sati any mercy. And
I left for a reason, Neri. I know who she was becoming. And it hurts a lot to know that I got out at the right time. But of course, everything comes crashing back, doesn't it?
I am currently in her disfavor.
Well, that makes two of us.
She doesn't like it when I humanize Sati. It's easier to dehumanize those you don't agree with. Makes it easier to delude yourself, to pretend like you're not becoming a monster.
I've had that conversation a lot lately, actually.
I'm going to tell you something that she could never hear me say. There are good people at Sati. People who inherited this world, same as us. But there are also very bad people, same as the butterflies. She nods over to everyone. You can hear the laughter of a few of the butterflies as they're tossing ropes to each other as they're taking down some of the tents. And you see one of the trikes that they liberated from Sati about 600 feet away off in the bush, just casually just munching on pounds of grass, just going through and chomping on flowers. I don't know how any of this helps you. When I look at your future, I can't see what happens next, which tells me that you and your new family are going to be the ones that decide what happens next for all of us. I believe that.
Well, I can at least say for certain that I do trust them. And I know that they will fight for what's right, and our home seems to have the answers. So I think it's time we go home and do our part. It's really good to see you.
She puts her hand on yours and says, "This is the last time you and I will ever speak."
That's not true. I'll see you when I sleep.
You see this warm smile on her face. And she squeezes your hand with the strength that she has in those thin fingers. And then glances down and scoops up the bones individually. Puts them very delicately back into her pouch that she has on her side.
I grab her hands again, and I kiss them. And I stand up, take one full mental picture, and I bid farewell, and I walk back to my friends.
Excuse me. Hello.
Hi, Goose. Hi. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Large nostrils just...
Before I go, Neri, someone wants to say their goodbyes as well.
Yeah, I would say, so as an Osteon.
How did you get here without me hearing you?
Yeah.
Beautiful creature.
How long have I been behind you?
I know. That's what I mean.
She raises these frail fingers up in the directions of Goose, but doesn't reach out. Just kind of raises them up to acknowledge, but doesn't actually reach out to touch Goose. It's more of like an acknowledgement of Goose being there, to be taken however Goose wishes. And she doesn't look at Goose. She keeps her head lowered with her palm out.
Goose gets a very, very close sniff.
It's enough to blast the hood off of her face. And when it happens, you get a glimpse of all that curled blonde hair has been like crudely just chopped over the time. And it does reveal that those script tattoos are going all the way down. You can see basically, you've seen this before. You didn't know, first of all, Neri was an Osteon. You didn't know that she had the ability to interact with time anomalies and see the future. No. And that she'd become a soothsayer. That's new. But it's clear that she's gone through the rituals of acknowledgement and has become one of the seers of the butterflies. And it becomes very apparent. She has sort of a Luna Lovegood vibe about her. And with the tattoos on her face and the blasting of this hot air from this jet engine of a nose from this T-Rex, there is a small smile that cracks across her face, and she just holds steady.
Goose pulls away, takes a couple steps, looks back to Echo, looks out, takes a couple more steps.
Goose wants to leave.
Now.
Yeah. Goose wants to hunt.
Yes.
Oh,
you forgot you were
breakfast.
A hunter.
I know.
Remind.
Yeah.
Things are simple. We kill things.
I give you the nod of go hunt. I'll herd the pack.
Goose stays and waits. We hunt.
Well, you have to make...
You do not breakfast with their scavenge food.
Make a roll.
Okay. No. Screw that. I'm hunting with my girl. Like Goose is. We're hunting with Goose.
Okay. So you hesitate for a moment, you're thinking like you're going to rally the pack, and then second thought, Echo, there's been a part of you that has really gotten in touch with her younger self, being around the butterflies, and the idea of hunting with Goose right now just sounds great.
Yeah. Screw it. Goose needs me. Goose needs to hunt. I need to hunt. Let's blow off some steam.
Yeah. All right. The two of you head out. Now, for the rest of the morning, pretty much what's happening is the camp is being packed up rapidly. Fires have been started. Bodies are being burned of what's left of the Sati people, who have been stripped of all of their equipment and clothes and tossed into a pyre. It's rough, but that's pretty standard for the butterflies. A lot of the equipment is gathered up and is being taken with them. Echo, you know that equipment's all going to be destroyed. If it can't be used to destroy other equipment, it's going to be destroyed. What's up, Tego?
I was just going to say, the moment Nines wakes up, just like he immediately looks for food, he immediately looks for time anomalies. To him, it's all the same. Like,
okay.
I'm looking for yummies or I'm looking for shinies.
You smell something. It's not even a smell. It's that tingling sensation in the back of your nostrils. It almost causes your brain to feel like it's been hooked at the end of a fishing line that's being pulled in a direction. You know there's something out there. That weird vibration in the air that these other bipeds can't hear. It's just bizarre. But you know, Nine, that when you find these things, River gets really smiley.
Immediately, like, towards it. Yeah. Doesn't really matter if there's stuff between me and it. Like, it's that way. Cool. Trees, people, other dinosaurs.
Shouting. You hear somebody shouting in Mandarin. Just spewing out curse words as this ankylosaur just tramples over someone's tent that they were just finishing laying out. And it doesn't look like Nine even knows it happened. And you just shuffle off. River, you definitely see Nine has got that squirrel kind of vibe.
Oh boy. I don't think that's him going for his morning run.
His morning constitution.
River's gonna try and go. Well, is anything happening in River's vicinity that like she like should be there for, or can she bounce? Are they just doing things right now?
It looks like you've got some time. It looks like Echo's gone to hunt.
It does look like we got some time because that's what 9 is.
Yeah.
But anyway.
There's the pun, Husky. All right. So you're gonna shuffle off after 9.
More than shuffle. I think she's gonna sprint. And then
I thought it was only 6.
An apology to the person speaking in Mandarin that 9 just. I think it's a constant like 9 is like taking the lead, and River often follows yelling apologies to everyone that 9 has just trampled over.
Same thing when 9 hears her apologizing, like he immediately looks back and of course Tail whips out and just smashes something, like creams a wagon or something. And then like now that she knows I know, I move even faster towards the shiny.
Like, oh, you're catching up. Great.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah.
All right, let's do this real quick. You guys,
because if she gets to the shiny before me, I won't get the scritches. So I have to get to the shiny before her.
I imagine with that thick hide, in order to give 9 the proper scritches, you've got to use like one of those heavy. Like, have you ever seen people pet crocodiles and they fucking love it, and they use those really thick brooms that has the thick wires, and they just scrub a croc's back, and the croc is just like, this is the greatest thing in the world. It's probably like one of those thick wire brushes that people use to scrape out like grease out of a pan. Okay, so
I'm
you want about 200 yards out of camp.
Okay.
And because you have the ability to detect time anomalies, you do not have to roll for this. Your dino has that talent. They find time anomalies. And sure enough, about 200 yards out of camp, River, you come across what looks like a mirror in 3 dimensions hovering about 6 feet above the ground. It looks like a warp of the space around it. Like it's refracting all of the light. Inside, you can see the multitudes of imagery that's popping up. That's kind of hard to make out, but it is undoubtedly a time anomaly. You can also see occasionally, like some of the pine, like some of the, if anything falls from the tree, like a leaf, you can actually see it slow as it's drifting past the time anomaly before it resumes and lands gently on the ground.
I feel like 9 is weighted pretty low to the ground, so like standing up for things is not really in the cards for him, but he's actively attempting to malerp the mirror that's 6 feet in the air.
I found it.
And she's gonna like try and call him back and like give him like tempt him with scritches. Also gonna try and find a large branch to scritch him with.
Okay. You gonna interact with the time anomaly?
But it's also a, like, let's not touch the time anomaly, 9. Let's not do it. Come here, boy. Come here.
Are you going to interact with the anomaly?
I'm going to interact with the anomaly after I tell my dinosaur that they've done a very good job.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would like to administer scritches to 9. I think that you're right. It is like an ordeal because it's like trying to get through that armor, right? And I think that River is only so big, so it's like she really has to like, around to like
small River just scratching the thick hide.
For 9,
it's like watching a turtle get a toothbrush on its back, where it's kind of like, oh, they like
brushy.
Yeah. This is just an unbroken 24 hours of wins for Nines from having won the foot race yesterday to now. It is just like ace after ace after ace.
This has been the greatest week of my life.
Yeah, literally zero negative repercussions in the midst of all of this, like ennui and drama. And Nines is like, yes.
In the distance, you can still hear that shouting in Mandarin of like cursing every ankylosaur that ever walked the earth.
Okay,
Dave, I'm going to need you to roll 2d10. Pick one digit as the ones, and the second digit is it's a 1d100 roll.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Tell me what you get.
I will tell you what I get in just a second. 69.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
That's the cipher. It just says nice.
It just says nice. Don't roll
Please
again.
be a social cipher, so that, like everyone improves positive interactions. Everyone is more nice.
Yeah. Is this really? Okay, roll a d6 and add +2.
I like where this is headed.
I also like where this is headed. Roll a d6 and then add +2. Okay, that would be a 3, my friend.
Okay, so this is a level 3 cipher.
Okay.
Ooh, this is a manifest cipher, which we've not actually had before. So as you place your hand inside the time anomaly, you begin to see your hand interacting with that fractured bit of time that's right in front of you. Your hand enters into a vortex of space-time that is interacting on multiple timelines. Future, past, present, all of it, happening all at once. And something begins to interact with your genetic code immediately, as what happens with time anomalies. You see this baleful green-like energy beginning to course through the nervous system in your hand, lighting your entire hand up like a neon green Christmas tree. Just starts to glow. And that sort of baleful green, almost sickly glow courses all the way up your arm. It's enough to cause have you ever shown like a flashlight through your hand and it's like that amber reddish color as you're just seeing through your own skin? It's that same sort of bizarre glow that's emanating from your nerves as it pulses up and joins into your body. You gain poison, mind disruption. The victim that you target with this suffers intellect damage equal to the cipher's level and cannot take actions for a number of rounds equal to the cipher's level.
Damn, I only rolled 3. I'm so mad.
3 is enough to end their day.
3
That's
is a whole
powerful
combat.
cipher.
I'm ready.
Yeah, 69.
69, dude. Yeah. Especially
when
when they can't move and there's dinosaur murder machines around, you know?
Manifest them into 3-round bliss.
Yeah.
Well, it's intellect, you said, right, Eric?
Intellect damage equal to the cipher's level.
Right.
But it's really that 3-round stun lock.
That's what it is. It's the stun lock for 3 rounds.
Because that's not like it takes damage and comes back up from it. Like, you know, if you do like a whole person kind of vibe. No, they're just down and you can wail on them, even if they're very, very high level and they can't hit back. It's no takesy backsies. The cipher.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And
there's no roll for it either. It looks like you activate it.
Poison.
Vicious.
I'm so excited. This is great. River just like, and so I think that it does look like poison going through her veins. And
Nines immediately tries to malurb now that you have a glowy hand. He's like,
I think that she has to like push his head away in like in the way that he knows that it's like oh no, that's not a treat. That's not a treat.
No, that's not a treat.
No.
I mean, how do we know it's poison? So I'm just saying.
Nah, I have been winning all day. I think we should trust my instincts.
And just so the audience knows, because we're doing it a little bit unusually, but for those of you who are new to Cypher or watching it being played for the first time, when you acquire a Cypher in the Cypher system, it's almost always a roll to identify what you've got. You almost always have to make an intellect roll to find out what the cipher is. Discovering a cipher is always a bit of a mystery. For the sake of Secrets of Silvercreek, we've been kind of glossing over that so that everyone interacts with it. And in sort of this fantastic sci-fi setting, I'm baking into the narrative that they become aware of what they've acquired, just to like speed up the narrative a little bit, and that so y'all can use them. Because in our last cipher campaign, our players were so immeasurably badass. They really didn't need ciphers that much until they imploded a van, of course, with a space bomb. But you know,
hey, took out all the minions in one round.
And you created a shitload of cure light wounds for the entire party, which was super useful. Defibrillators, or where you want to call them.
Oh, right. We had a nice little reactive wound closure kind of boy. That was good time.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah. So ciphers are intrinsic to the system.
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows. Okay. You come wandering back into camp with this green glow beginning to fade into your arm. You can feel it coursing through. That time anomaly just closes up after you've interacted with it. Unless anybody is requesting any scenes here, the camp packs up. And there's not a lot said to any of you as this is happening. The only person that interacts before departing is Violet. She walks up to you, Tego, and she's throwing her sack over her shoulder before she's about to mount back up on top of the trike that she rode in here on. And she goes, okay, so I hope I see you again. And if I have to kill you, let me know if River's single.
Just give her the grip again.
Okay.
Yep.
The two of you embrace for a second. I mean, the two Karns living in the moment. It's not so much of a sweet goodbye as like when you go to give her the grip, she grabs you by the back of your head and just pulls you into and just kisses you. Like she just came home from the war, just kisses you. And then just as abruptly pushes you off her and then swings back up onto her trike.
Like right when she gets up on it, I just like slap the trike on the ass hard to ride off.
Immediately starts lunging. She does look a little unprepared as she glances back.
Steenie doesn't like it. And like runs in front to and is like,
Hey, you're still alive thanks to her, all right? Come on. You're the only girl for me. I kiss her on the side of the head.
You all what? Steenie, I would say, Echo, you do see.
I assume we've gotten our kill. Goose is good at this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to return covered in blood.
I would say Goose is probably finishing just like, because T-Rex don't exactly chew. Goose is probably still just kind of like birding it back into the mouth, as it were. And
ideally, I think because Tyrannosaurid are scavengers, this was a scavenge hunt so that we got to scare something off. Just be very dominant and scary.
Yeah, why don't we have fun with this? And we'll say that you actually came across a small pack of 4 Deinonychus and you managed to have them scatter. They decided they'd had enough and they didn't want to fight a T-Rex. They were just like, no, we're good here. So 4 of these raptor dinos just basically bolted off into the bush. Kind of lingered for a second to watch the way they do, just because their kill is still on the ground. But eventually it's like watching hyenas kind of look at their kill after lions close in and just kind of like, man. All right, I'm not gonna fuck with that. I guess we'll go. And like as y'all are as the separation is happening,
I just will say I make a point that we do not go back straight to Silvercreek. I know how good at trackers these people are. Like we gotta do really something else. Yeah, but we don't just go like boom and they're like
and it's also worth noting that Aldane did tell you all that there have been silverback sightings, which are, for a reminder to the audience, silverbacks are human beings that have decided to forsake their humanity and emulate dinosaurs using technologies to alter their bodies into more animalistic forms. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're evil, but it means they will behave and treat humans like they are prey. almost specifically like they are prey. They will enhance their bodies with claws. They'll even attach tails that have weapons at the end of them using cybernetics. And they will run around with raptor packs. And they will even keep pace with raptor packs using the tech and bioengineering that they've used in their bodies. They are, if for lack of a better way of saying it, they are the Reavers of predation. They're just not hell-bent on pure cruelty the way Reavers were portrayed in Serenity. They are instead more primal and aren't known for targeting, but they are known for being very, you just
predatory.
Don't want to. Yes, they're very dangerous. They're worse than scabs by far.
I know they know that Silvercreek exists, but do we know they know precisely its location?
Yeah, because
I know that.
Echo knows that. Y'all don't know that.
And I would like to be back before the camp moves out. I mean, it is kind of the last chance to say goodbye.
I also assume Penny knows by implication, just from also being a townie. Would you say that's correct, Echo?
Yeah, I would say that's right.
I'm not sure, actually.
No?
Because I'm a whole lot younger than Aldane. And my family, she stayed with the Satis when my parents left. So it's possible.
Yeah, I guess it's not necessary knowledge, but if I were, for instance, suspicious of you because you had this whole allegiance that you never told us about, even though we let you in our treehouse, then we might just make the assumption that you had also told them about where our home is. It might not be evidence-based. It could just be a guess that Penny makes. That's fine. Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I would say that I don't think my sister's a subject that is necessarily banned in the household, but is probably not talked about. So I would say you could absolutely infer that without Echo ever saying it. But also,
I didn't know this stuff until now, so
you don't know about butterflies, so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just
all the
make
things.
assumptions. There we
go ahead, make assumptions. Yay!
Love it.
Yeah, so I would like to come back.
Does Clever notice this like new like grown? She does, right? Oh yes, Clever has decided that like Goose and Echo are their enemies now. That's right.
Nemesis.
Okay. So I think Clever does spend some time trying to fight and run away at like nip at Goose's ankles and like run away.
There's a 90% chance that Goose probably doesn't feel that.
There's 100% chance. I don't know that Goose is aware of the existence of Clever this whole time.
Clever likes to think that she has really bothered this one, but no.
Yeah, I think there's like a moment where like Goose picks their foot up and puts it back down. That Clever could absolutely not think that it was just like, they're just kind of moving their legs. No, you got to.
I got
them. You left your mark. They're going to feel that later.
They are going to feel that later.
I think they're kind of limping, honestly. Like, you'd have to I think so.
This is what happens when you mess with my Pippa.
Take that, motherfucker. Nom, nom, nom. Oh, now see, they're walking away. So clearly Clever wins.
You better run.
That's right. That's right, T-Rex. King of the dinosaurs. You better walk away. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
While this adorable exchange is happening, can I get a quick clarification on what the data pad said? So, per what Penny was anxious about of whether or not we had this place had explosives for us to possibly commandeer or exploit. Did we or did we not get a code, an access code?
You did. You got the access code, which y'all remember.
Right. So we can open the hack.
You can open the site. Yes. You have full access to it. Getting back there.
I just wanted to make sure of that before we...
Yeah. And as a quick reminder, Silvercreek's original name was Sati:000E.
Yeah.
And it apparently was the research hub for it's what's amazing to this is the implications here means that conceivably there's a telescope somewhere on site. There could be this was a site that was designed to observe the heavens, which means the positioning of this site would have to be ideal for that. Now, it's not like there's light pollution you got to worry about in Cretaceous period. But Silvercreek is in the lowlands, which, you know, let me put it this way. For a celestial observation site, they're not limited by the same things that we in our modern day technologies are limited by. They don't have to worry about things like, for example, how much air is in the atmosphere when you're looking through a telescope for distortion. They don't have to worry too much about cloud cover even. That's stuff that we have to accommodate for, that we can accommodate for, and that we compensate for all the time when looking into the heavens. But again, y'all come from a future where you're basically, I mean, from the way the elders told the stories, humankind, the future that they came from, y'all traveled the stars, colonizing other worlds. From what the elders have told you, humankind had ventured beyond its own galaxy. Now, these all sound fantastic because you haven't even really seen that much in terms of science or space exploration in this primal age, but that could all change when you get back to Silvercreek.
Is the caravan leaving?
Yes, all of them are starting to saddle up. And
where are my friends? Are they together or?
It's almost a division. You can see the group from Silvercreek starting to like gather on one side of where the camp was. And on the other side, you see Aldane take one last look at you, Echo, before she jumps up onto the back of Breg, swings up and gets onto the back of Breg's at the full height and kind of saddle. Now, it is worth noting that as Breg walks and does that slight lean that T-Rexes do to find that equilibrium as they're storming through, Aldane doesn't necessarily sit on the back in like a saddle. There are these straps on the side that she stands on while she rides on the back of Breg. And as she stands up on his shoulders, Breg is just kind of like shaking. You can see kind of like pulling some feathers off of the backside of his shoulders here. But you see she glances at you and holds your gaze for a long moment.
I stand up on top of Goose and hold eye contact back.
Back of these two great predatorial theropods, the two sisters look at each other. You don't know what this means, Echo. You don't know if she's saying goodbye. You don't know. It's hard to read her. She's always, when she wants you to know what she's feeling, she's easy to read.
In the theme of my life, she is a very complex mixture.
She raises her hand and does a motion, and you see in a rather alarming unity and synchronicity, the butterflies immediately begin to fall out.
When the gaze is broken, Echo's going to slide down the side of Goose, down to her friends. If they're huddled
makes
together.
A gesture that looks shockingly like Clever's "Yeah, you better run."
Drops down to wherever wherever Penny is closest.
Mm-hmm.
And just says, my sister will be back.
Is she going to wreck our town?
I don't think she knows yet. So there's hope at least.
Is there anything we can do to get her not to wreck our town?
Hopefully it's too valuable to wreck.
She doesn't know what it is.
But we're going to find out.
Hey, where does your name come from?
Echo?
Yeah.
Well, just sort of a habit of mine. I tend to used to be a follower, and then it sort of became more of a badge of honor with this one. and growl back.
Mm.
What about you?
Oh, I don't get it. Something about being a lucky penny, but I don't like. I think my parents showed me a penny once. It just seems like kind of a really flat rock kind of thing, little metal bitty.
Huh.
I don't know. But I guess
Old
it means
world
lucky,
stuff, probably.
You know? I was just thinking, this is a bunker.
What about it?
Like, the radio signs. It's 000E. E's for Echo, right? And Penny sort of
Cool.
acts-
And then
acts back.
she just all her brain is thinking is about the bones and Neri and like. I need to tell you something, Penny.
You just
and then
feel ice water down your back suddenly.
yeah, and then just
kind of casually throws it out.
exposition spills about what Neri told Echo to Penny. Cutscene of episode.
As you all begin to move back off into the wilds together, we're going to pause for our 10-minute break. It's 1:30 here. So we'll be back in 10 minutes, y'all. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back to the Cretaceous period, everybody. Before we jump back into the game, I just want to acknowledge something because, as you all know, I am a huge sci-fi nut, and today is In7 Day. Even though, so for those of you who don't know what In7 Day is today, there is a little-known sci-fi property that I love probably as much as I love Star Trek and Star Wars called Mass Effect. And today, our beloved friend Mark Meir is hosting something. So go check out the BioWare site because I believe Mark is playing in an RPG today to celebrate In7 Day. They also announced the Legendary Edition Mass Effect set, which is amazing. And on that note, tonight on my Twitch channel, I'm going to be hanging out and playing Mass Effect Andromeda because it's In7 Day. Damn it! And I'm very, very, very excited. Now I owe Sam royalties.
I actually bought Mass Effect Andromeda for my Xbox, I think, like last week. So I'm playing it now. Yes, I'm only like 10 minutes into the game. I'm very excited.
I have to share this.
I did not know this was on your radar at all.
Librarian Liz, one of our beloved Elder mods, bought me this.
What?
It's from Mass Effect Andromeda. It's the Nomad. Yep.
That's just what you always wanted.
He's a little bitty tiny nomad. A little bitty nomad. So I'm gonna be getting up to shenanigans and romancing Cora. So definitely definitely check it out.
Go for.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump back into the game. We are picking up while y'all are on your journey back to Silvercreek, a journey that's become a bit repetitive this past week as you have ventured out this far and back and out again and now back again, having to track down that Sati scouting party. Now that you're on your way back, crunching through the wilderness, you've actually managed to find the paths that you have taken. I will go ahead and ask here that if anybody has any scouting or tracking. Okay, cool. If you have any skills that you think would help you sort of range, basically.
I'm specialized in wilderness navigation.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to ask you to make a roll. The difficulty is going to start at 4.
Okay. I drop it by 2, and I do not, and then I do not spend effort to drop it further because that would strain my brain. You got to go by the instinct. You got to go by the heart. You got to go by rolling advantage on every roll.
All right.
So I needed a 6. I got a 6 and an 8. So I succeed.
Okay. Penny, you just, if there's one thing that you do well, it's just keeping that all of your senses available to the changes in the land around you, from the calls of the pterodons to the sounds of any predators that are marching through the woods at the same time y'all are. You're constantly looking at trees to find out what bark is missing since you last passed through here, looking at the imprints in the mud. Of course, the lot of you moving through here is causing Goose is causing a lot of predators and other animals to scatter, as to want to do. No one sticks around.
It does feel good.
Yeah. You do see evidence of small mammals that have been running through here. You see evidence of some of the other packs, like maybe some other raptor packs have been moving through. Also some smaller footprints that possibly other Bambi raptors have been running through the areas. But for the most part, on your way back, you don't see any signs that anyone has come this way since y'all have last been here. The path looks pretty clear, giving you all plenty of time to have a quiet trip back home. You're probably going to be back in Silvercreek around sunset as you journey.
So, just make sure I'm processing all of this correctly. That back there was your family, Echo?
Couple of them. One by blood. Yeah.
I wonder if that's why they cut us loose, because if they already know where Silvercreek is, letting 4 eyewitnesses go back to warn them of a potential attack is a major breach, unless somehow letting us get there first is to their advantage.
Well, I mean, the butterflies don't really believe in harming people. It's more if you're in their way kind of deal. So
unless they're Sadie, then they murder him real hard.
Yeah, then it's different story. But to them, Silvercreek is just a village, and if anything, they would give us time to leave. Aldane actually offered to help us move the village, but screw that. It's ours.
Yeah. Every time I hear about their high and mighty butterfly philosophy, it's always, hey, here's this thing we believe, except for this giant fucking contradictory example right here. But besides that, that's what we're about.
You hear River like laugh from like falling back with 9, because I think that River, every time we travel, River is always like bringing up the rear because of 9. I think that it's the
Safer.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question that I believe we all have pondered, but maybe not asked out loud? Out here in this world, it's a terrible, harsh place. We all know it. Scavs, butterflies, us. We all live like Sati's so terrible when we got a whole mess of Sati people at the camp right now. What have they done, really? That deserves this unchecked aggression?
Who'da thunk? And Penny kind of sulkily kicks something.
You all right, kid? You got something you need to say?
I was just saying that 2 days ago. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah.
This was their argument. I think that we are still making the right choice. I think that we need to figure out what's in that bunker.
Oh, of course. And yeah, Penny.
And
2 days ago. Oh, I apologize, River. Please continue with your thought.
All I was going to say is I think that the time for philosophical conversation is over.
That's easy
so
for you to say.
If it's over?
Yeah. You ain't got the dreams some of us got. In Penny, it was a world of difference when it was 6 of them bearing down on our home. Now those pieces are off the board, so to speak. I think we all know more of them are coming back, but butterflies are coming, scavs coming, silverbacks, natural predators, and a goddamn flaming hunk of rock that's going to obliterate 90% of all the life on Earth. So I'm just putting out before us all whose side are we really on and why. That's all.
We're on the side of our home. We do everything we can to protect Silvercreek. to make sure it stays the way it stays. We find out what's in that bunker. We go from there. And we stop anyone who tries to take it away from us.
Why does it matter so much to you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Why does it matter so much to you? I mean, like, you're not from there, but you're gonna go up against, like, everybody, and you're like, I'll fight everything.
Silvercreek is a vision of this world that can be without Sati. And they were the people who saved me from the river. I mean, not only is it a life debt, but it means so much more. When I was pulled out from the river with 9, I thought this was it. This was the end. I didn't think that we were going to be going any further. All our running had been for nothing. And I made my peace with that. But then Amelia showed up and showed me there could be something different than running. And so I don't want to run anymore. I don't want us to have to run collectively. We should be allowed to stay on our own terms, not on Sati's terms.
Takeo really is like tearing off like hunks of jerky, some of which he probably commandeered from the butterflies, and like literally like take a bite and give some to Steenie. Okay. He's walking and he's like,
I understand the sentiment. I myself have not had many opportunities to sleep in the same place for more than a night or two in a row for most of my life, but home ain't some 80-year-old beat-up prefab shelters. Home is people. If Silvercreek burned to the ground, but all of its inhabitants live, Silvercreek lives. If every building there was still standing, but all of us were raptor food, we ain't accomplished nothing.
I understand that it is people, but why must it be like, why must we adjust to them? Like, why should our philosophy have to change to adapt to their greed? I don't know.
It's about Sati for you. You don't like bullies.
I don't like bullies.
I ain't proposing we pull up stakes or nothing, but you gotta remember, some of them elders came from a world truly beyond our comprehension or imagination, and now they're still out here fighting with sticks and rocks and half a cliff of bullets to hold on to what they still got left. You can rebuild anywhere if you got to, but if we gotta fight, we fight.
I say we fight.
I hope it helps people. This could be an answer that helps everyone. Let's maybe do more than just fight.
Well, I think we're all in agreement we need to have a look-see down there. Although I gotta tell you, if all it's gonna tell us is the exact date of impending doom, I don't know if that's good for us or bad for us. You think the scavs and silverbacks and butterflies are going to suddenly peacefully coexist if we find out we got 184 days to live, 722, 7,844? I don't.
I mean, it'd probably be good for the butterflies scheduling. This is how long we have to destroy all of civilization. They could do like scheduled demolitions and stuff and just not set it off. It's perfect.
I do look over at Echo.
Echo with that.
And I say,
Echo's giggling.
For what it's worth, I don't disagree with the butterflies. None of this should remain. I just feel like it should last as long as it can, just like everything else.
And I reach out and I kind of squeeze your arm. Me too, Tego. Me too. I look over at River and I say, because Echo's been kind of quiet during this conversation, just kind of listening, getting her bearings. Listening to your story about being pulled out of the river and feeling saved by others. That's what the butterflies did to me. Goose and I were rescued, and I joined them. They were my family. And I admire your need and love for the place that I love too, and the people that I love. Silvercreek, we rescued you. And fighting for us is noble, and I'm very grateful. But always keep in mind to not be loyal to an idea, but to actions. Silvercreek is wonderful, but we also aren't perfect, and neither are anyone else. I'm not loyal to the butterflies anymore, but I have loyalty to members within it that I love, who I know have good in their hearts. And I will fight for Silvercreek, but not because it's a place, but because of the people I know who want to make it better. And I look at Penny. People who know how to make it better.
It seems we're all caught up in a bit of a tangled web here. Knowing your blood relation was the head of a major enemy faction might have been nice piece of information to have shared over a stiff cup of something somewhere along the way, Echo. So, anybody else got anything they want to put out before the committee? I mean, I told y'all before, y'all know who I used to run with. Y'all know what I done. Maybe not the details, you don't need those, but I was a terrible thing, and I have worked to be not that. And should we come upon my old family crashing through the brush out here, I suggest we tuck tail as fast as possible, and if we can't get away, we fight to the last of us. But beyond that, my story's been told.
I'm from Silvercreek.
Me as well.
Me too.
I mean, I do have a dinosaur egg I wasn't supposed to steal, but other than that, I don't really have a lot of secrets.
Wait, what?
What?
Excuse me.
Hey, we have to go this way to get across the river.
From where? Penny.
Penny's moving. Penny's moving, you can follow.
Penny, there's a lot of like this, excuse me.
I just when they start speeding up, I just say,
Steenie, will you give Penny a hug from me, please?
How does out of curiosity, how does Clever react to the Steenie hug?
Oh no!
Click, play.
You damn incur my wrath.
This
Clever's gonna end hating every other member of
Yeah.
Chekhov's pistol coming into play. The pistol that Clever stole in episode like 2 or whatever is coming back when she's
Clever is like side holding it, dry clicking the gun at Clever at Steenie.
But no, I would say that Clever is right by Penny's feet at this point.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, we're going back? Yes. Okay. It's like when you take your dog on a walk and then they realize that you've turned back and you're heading home now. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of like, oh, a little bit of sadness that like it's over. The walk is over. But she following.
And then another dog takes your master's attention.
Yeah.
Hey. All right. So, unless there's anything else, true to the predictability of your great scout, you arrive on the outskirts of Silvercreek as the sun has begun to dip beyond the horizon. This primal world is once again falling asleep. Arriving in Silvercreek, it's just the way you left it. You can see that they've done a lot of repairs in just a short amount of time. On the other side of the palisade wall that is erected around Silvercreek, you can see that that people are like at the top of the fences lifting heavy logs together and like replacing some of the structure that is built around the place. As you step inside, you can hear people calling out to you, happy to see everyone. I mean, really, the dead giveaway is Goose that you guys are returning because there's a fucking T-Rex approaching the settlement. But as you all begin to get closer and closer, you can hear the shouts of acknowledgement that the party is returned. You are met with kids rushing out of some of the structures. Everyone's rushing out to see you. A lot of the kids immediately tossing food to Clever as they see you all walking in and giving a wide berth to 9.
I do tuck my handkerchief for one of them to try and get away from me without noticing.
Okay. Yeah, it's a homecoming. You've only been gone for about 2 days tops, but they react like they haven't seen you in a week. People are coming out of the woodwork, waving to you, shouting out, "Come to my place as soon as you're done. I have food." Like shouting out to everybody, letting you all know you are home.
Steenie is corralling the babes.
Okay.
And is just like pretend hunting them.
Mm-hmm.
And giving like giving them scares, and so that they're running away and screaming and trying. And that's what Steenie's doing.
It's just important to point out that no matter how adorable Steenie acts, Steenie is a 300-pound Dakota Raptor and is terrifying. So it has this.
Gotta teach him.
It's like at any moment, like it's playing with a cute tiger, basically. And everyone's adapted to Steenie. No one seems intimidated or frightened as Steenie kind of is bounding over and playing with everybody. Keeping track of Steenie's claws, which are capable of tearing open just about anything she wants them to in a hard moment's notice. Goose, I imagine you have to tell me, Goose, but I imagine Goose doesn't actually ever go into Silvercreek, if I'm not mistaken. Because Silvercreek is surrounded by walls.
I've been there because it's important to understand that it is my turf.
Right.
And so there have been times when I have been required to patrol it. Just simply surveying my domain, but no, for the most part, there's nothing important there.
We're on the outskirts.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where most of the farming is and easy prey.
Yeah, honestly, Goose's like center of gravity of Silvercreek is sort of much more between the town, but really the cattle. Think of like a guardian dog over a flock. That's sort of the vibe. These are mine. No one eats this but me.
Okay. You assert your dominance to all the dinosaurs that would never challenge your dominance to begin with, for sure.
Exactly. This was unnecessary at all times. No one needed to do this. But they're a teen. They do it anyway.
As you are all settling in and being greeted by the settlement itself, you see on the steps of Laboratory 1 is Melina, Dr. Melina, leaning on her cane, and next to her, of course, is Dr. Becker. And of course, you see Ayla Skystone, who's folding her arm over her shoulder and kind of rubbing the spot where she had her arm amputated. She's looking at all of you thoughtfully as everyone's approaching, and you see Melina waving you all over eagerly as you all approach. And she says, "We're starting to get worried. Is everyone okay?"
Not the Saudi people.
Before you say anything else, why don't we go inside and discuss what you've seen and what happened?
Are we anywhere near where we know that hidden door is?
The hidden door is inside Lab 1. Lab 1 goes down into the structure of the bunker itself.
And so that is basically where we are, outside Lab 1?
Yes, you're outside Lab 1. This is where Dr. Melina lives and does all of her research and development.
I just say,
yeah, we probably need to head down again.
Head down again?
Down.
Come inside.
Mm-hmm.
The elders follow you all inside.
Come here, drop that. Come on.
I will say, Tego still has his rifle that he's always got slung over his shoulder, but he is conspicuously carrying that scav shotgun.
Okay.
Like this, probably going to display it somewhere as a memory eventually, but right now it's just out.
Yeah. All right. You exposition, unless you want to say anything specific or leave anything out, you exposition essentially your encounter after hunting them down. Obviously, I'm guessing Echo leaves out some of the more personal remarks, but you essentially...
Not necessarily. If anything, I would be... I think there's an air of secrecy to Echo's to Echo's secret, because I think she told a couple of adults when she got back, and they were like, "Don't talk about this." This woman knows my parents and wouldn't have to have information on the butterflies to keep her village safe. So I would think she knows. So it's more of a, "Hey, we ran into Aldane." Oh, kind of thing. Like, I think she knows who Aldane is.
Yeah. So when you bring up Aldane, there is a visible reaction from everybody in the room. You can see their faces change to deep concern as they look at each other.
Yeah, because she took me back in. So
Ayla says
Aldane. I meant how do you say her name? Melina.
Amalia Melina. Yeah.
Amalia.
Mm-hmm. I called her Amelia, which was a nice mashup of the two.
Amalia.
Skystone looks at you severely and says, "The Queen of Butterflies knows where Silvercreek is? Did I know that? I don't believe I knew that." And Dr. Melina just raises her hand and says, "We knew that, but it wasn't immediately a problem. Is it a problem now?"
Yes.
There's a reaction from the elders as they all look at each other. Skystone stands up and says, "I can fend off raiders, but if the butterflies decide to take Silvercreek..."
It's not simple. They don't want the village. They just want to blow up what we're on. So if it really comes down to it, the people would be protected.
So they know about the bunker.
They found the SATI data pad.
I believe that's why we were allowed to depart, so that we could carry the message that we'd be allowed to leave. But there is another important piece of information. And I just look at River.
Yes, we believe we know how to access it.
Melina looks at you suddenly and stiffens and says, access what?
The telescope.
The what? Which telescope?
The meteor study when we all die. Astronomy. That was what was on the tablet. What was actually in here?
The tablet told us that this was an observatory for celestial figures, presumably a way to tell time, and specifically to tell exactly when,
Yeah.
Totally.
Boom.
You're saying that we might be on the... Dr. Melina rubs her temples and says,
I think we should go take a look at it before this is just things that we read on a data pad. And while I'm certain that it was all accurate because of the security protocols that were based on it, I think that we should still confirm for ourselves.
Yeah, to be clear, what we're saying is we could stand up here jaw-jacking, or we could go solve an 80-year-old mystery right fucking now, with all due respect.
Can we do that, please? We've been traveling a lot, and I've just really wanted to go in there. And can we do it now, please?
Penny.
They seem to process this for a minute. Dr. Melina says, yes, let's see what's... Yes, let's see if this access works. And as she stands up, you can hear Dr. Becker lean over to her. As a quick reminder, Dr. Becker is 101 years old and is the former security for the original site, same as Dr. Melina, one of the few survivors of the original staff here. And he leans over to her and says, did you know about this? And Dr. Melina says, no, I never had high enough access. But why would they have sealed us out if this was an observatory? That doesn't make any sense. You all move over and the floor opens up and a ramp going down into the bunker appears again. You see the old SATI logo. You see the data readout where you would enter a code. Multiple numbers and symbols are available on it. But River, you remember with perfect clarity. What's up, Tego?
When this is all happening, I actually turn my back on the bunker and am very much looking towards the door. Like if anybody rushes in or does anything crazy, I will shoot them.
There is this sense that you're opening a treasure chest, and now all of a sudden you feel like eyes are in the bushes watching you do it. There is this kind of knowing how much Sachi wants this site, and now that the butterflies are inching for it, like there is this sudden breath-catching awe that takes place as all of you watch this door on the floor open up, seeing this old Sati site open up before you. You know you're about to be the first people to enter these doors in over half a century. And you are all aware of the weight of the information that might be presented to you upon entering. One by one, Dr. Melina takes her time edging down the ramp on her cane as she moves very carefully towards the data readout. When she gets down there, River, you move over to it. And there's this sense of like that first step onto the moon kind of feeling as your hand hovers over the data pad. Everyone's watching. Skystone looks very nervous. She's kind of doing the same thing that you're doing, Tego. She's glancing over her shoulder and nodding to you and just looking around. And eventually, as your hand drifts closer, Skystone says, wait, do we know exactly what this is going to do?
No, but I think we need to find out.
I concur. Dr. Adrian Becker says in reply and turns to Melina and says, you were elected the representative leader of this settlement. But if you're having any hesitation, I urge you to remember all of our colleagues that died when they shut us out of the site, when they tried to drive us away. Dr. Melina nods and says, I agree. If it works, open it.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
I Echo claps to break the tension in the hallway. Come on.
Okay. You punch in the sequence. And everyone waits as your fingers play across this flat data pad. Ding, 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 ding. As you're like pressing all these buttons in sequence as you remember them. And when you finish the final sequence, there is a frustrating pause where nothing happens. And then it goes ding and makes this sort of elegant, pleasant chiming noise, the way a modern day dryer does when it's letting you know your clothes are finished. This is kind of ding, 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 and it goes. And the doors begin to slide open. As they begin to slide open, you can see lights on the inside flickering to life. What's remarkable is the lights begin to flicker to life. You see the neon glow of thousands of ancient pieces of technology all activating. Power still on here. A testament to the power cells that drove this place from the world that it came from. The whole facility comes online, and this brilliant light casts over the entire facility. What you see is what looks like a spherical, like hollowed out area in the center of the room that's very reminiscent. As an example, if you remember, like Return of the Jedi, when they were all at the conference room and they had that holographic projection of the moon of Endor like in the center of the room, it looks like there's this sort of like cratered, hollowed out projector of some kind in the center of the room that is flanked by these crescent-shaped consoles, seated areas and computers all over the room that start to light up. You see data readouts, diagnostics starting to run, and then on the back wall, you see what looks like the entire wall in the back looks like it's made of glass. And it's in front of what looks like a black background and begins to activate, and you see lines tracing. It's difficult to make out what it is, but all of these lines just tracing across, it looks like it's booting up. But if you didn't know any better, you would say the entire back lab of this facility, which is about 1,100 square feet, the entire back part of the lab is an entire computer screen readout. And Dr. Molina starts moving in, slowly looking around. And looking at Dr. Becker and Dr. Molina, these two look like a pair of individuals who are seeing like the house they used to live in for the first time in 80 years. There's this sort of shaking of the head as they're looking at all of these pristine computers that will probably only be found deep within Kaleno City now, at the home of the original SATI site, all coming online. The air filtration that works down here apparently has never stopped running. There are no motes of dust in the air, and there's no dust on the computer screens. This place looks immaculate. And it does have a certain scent to it when you enter. Like you're breathing filtered clean air. It does not smell like the outside air. It doesn't smell bad. It just, because the outside air is about as fresh as it can be. But the place looks like it has been built to survive the apocalypse, essentially. What you're getting as you're looking around, you're seeing alcoves that has supplies. You see there are med kits down here. There are things that date back that are original SATI technologies that are down here in this bunker. This place, immediately, like the chills that begin to settle in on you, because even those of you who are not familiar with what's going on around here are realizing, holy shit, this is a gold mine. Armies would march on Silvercreek if they saw the resources that were available. Untouched SATI technology from 100 years ago down here.
Could you...
Go ahead.
Resources for how many people?
Probably the settlement.
Yeah, so we could technically move the settlement down here and save them from a meteor. If
I mean, you would be cramming 40 plus people into this room. It would not be easy. And any meteor that's going to hit the Earth that's not going to last 24 hours. That's going to last.
It's going to last a while.
That's a nuclear winter. That's going to last a while. But
there's some percentage that survive.
Yes.
And clearly mammals did all right overall.
Do they say this out loud, by the way, about we could write out the meteor down here? Or is that a theoretical thing?
I think that I don't think that River says anything about like how people can we, but I think that like she and Chago are like simpatico enough that you like see her like counting the resources and like doing the math in her head. Like she's not hiding that she's doing that.
Chago very much looks at you and just like slowly shakes his head no. Like,
advanced med kits. You even see a few synthetic suits of some kind. You don't know what they are. They don't look like combat suits, but you can see walled up, like up on the wall, you see two suits that look like they're just behind glass casing. Maybe laboratory suits of some kind, but they look they don't look like bulky lab suits. They look like they're kind of like skin tight, completely body covered suits.
That's interesting. River just responds to the head shake with it's an option, and I think it's a very good option. And then I think she's gonna go over to the big window computer. Mm-hmm. Does it look like it has a control panel anywhere?
No, it looks like this is probably a readout from one of the other mainframes or one of the other computer consoles here. But if you want to take a look at it and try to interpret what you're looking at,
yeah, she'd basically just like to turn it on and see what
it's activating.
Oh, okay, great.
But you can if you want to make a roll, it'd be an intellect roll.
Yeah.
To try to figure out what you're looking at. Do you have any science-based abilities or computer abilities or anything like that?
I don't have any. I have perception.
I'll let perception count as an asset.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm trained in perception. Okay.
All right. So the difficulty of this roll is going to be 3.
Okay, got it.
That's where it starts.
I got an 11.
And you had perception as an asset, so the difficulty dropped to 2. You needed a 6 or better. You got an 11. So, River, you move your way over, like tracing your hands across the cold, metallic surfaces of these computers. You've never seen technology like this, not even Kaleno City. Again, this is untouched SATI equipment from 100 years ago. This is from the first commute from the looks of it. Running your hands over the top of the metal surfaces, the computers on the other side respond and begin to light up for access. As you approach the large glass in the back and you're looking at it, you're getting a sense that what you're looking at is a computer readout that's in the process of loading up. But what it looks like is a data display for the entire laboratory to have access to. And the data looks like it's loading up these circles, all intertwined upon each other with lines running through them, glowing and pulsing. And at first, you're not entirely sure what the significance is until you start seeing some readouts. The dead giveaway is that towards in the center of all these circles and lines that are coursing through and all of these geometric shapes, you see glowing in the center of one of these circles, the word S-O-L, Sol.
It's us. Or
soul, as it were.
You're out of luck?
I'm sorry.
Penny points up.
No.
You said that one's us.
Yes, it's us.
SOL.
Well,
we probably are SOL.
You hear a gasp behind all of you as Dr. Melina reaches down and picks up something from off one of the consoles. From your angle, it almost just looked like a small square piece of glass. But as she holds it up, you realize she's holding up a name tag. And she goes, "My God."
What is it?
A ghost. This was Dr. Devin Rain. He was one of the lead researchers here, one of the people that was killed when the security teams turned on us. And she holds it up, and Becker shakes his head and says, I wonder if the system is still online. And Dr. Molina says, it's worth a chance. Quigley, are you online? And you hear like coming through a static, and then a hologram begins to form in the center of the room. Humanoid shape, but it looks slightly broken. You see it starting to come together, and you hear static. Yeah.
I get behind Echo.
Echo's crouching, Tego's guns out.
Yeah.
You see this humanoid shape that does not take full form. It looks like the code is somewhat broken, but you can hear this friendly voice responding in like a broken static saying, "Greetings, Dr. Molina. It has been 80 years, 7 months, and 3 days since we last spoke. I hope you are well." My God, he still works. It's not surprising if you think about it. Molina turns to you and says, "This was the AI assistant that we were using in the laboratories. I thought he was lost."
What's an AI?
Artificial intelligence. This is a projection of light to simulate a human being. This is a computer.
It's a person.
In a manner of speaking, Quigley, the hologram says, "I am an artificial intelligence designed to help supplement the work of those continuing their research here at SATI Site 000E."
I look to everyone else to see if it makes any more sense to someone else, because it makes none to me.
Excuse me, Quigley, can you hear me?
Yes.
I look over at Dr. Becker and I say,
"This man ever been down in this room before?"
We've never been down here before.
Quigley, has this man ever been down in this room before?
Dr. Becker, security clearance 01, had full access to this research facility, but has never been down here before. I also have noted that you, Dr. Molina, do not have access to this facility, and yet you have gained access. I'm afraid I will have to report this to SATI Command.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Don't do that.
Yeah, River would like. Was there anything in that data pad that you read that was basically like a?
No, it was just a code to get inside.
Okay, great.
Well, if this is a person, a very light person, I'm gonna reason with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Do not contact SATI, because SATI is the one that shut down this facility. We are helping you, dude.
They'll come and they'll kill us. Please don't call SATI.
And they'll turn you off too.
River would like to try also and add like as an assist to the convince, if like we're rolling a convince or whatever. She'd like to add the fact that she is a SATI employee and try to use like her old, I guess like ID and see if that, because this thing has been down for the last.
If you spend a player intrusion in experience points, if you spend 2 XP, I will let that be so.
I have literally 2 XP left. This is great. So maybe I'm gonna frickin' do it because we don't want that.
Whoa. So you immediately say what? As they're trying to convince it, you say, wait. What do you say?
I am a SATI employee. I am authorizing this, and my ID is blank.
And you give the number?
Yeah.
All right. Spend the 2 XP. So I don't know if that's news to everybody else, but you belt out your SATI identification number.
Yeah.
What did you do for SATI? You were in bioengineering?
Yes, I was in bioengineering. I worked specifically with bioengineering on dinosaurs and
dinosaurs.
Yes, and 9 was one of my earlier experiments, and when I realized that I was working with people with questionable ethics, I decided to leave. And the first time was a fail because I got caught. But the second time, I was able to get out with 1 Well, I was able to get out with 9.
So the computer screens register your security clearance.
Yeah.
It does not register your identification, but it does acknowledge that you are a SATI employee as well.
Great.
And because you spent the 2 XP, interestingly enough, what happens is this. Over a course of time, as people have died and moved on, as employees have died, security clearance numbers have been recycled.
Yes. Who am I?
Why would they need to worry about the access of restricted materials for something that's been lost for 80 years when you're giving this to one of the low functionary researchers in a biolab in Kaleno City?
Absolutely.
So at a sheer fucking chance, you belt out your security clearance and immediately, because you spent a player intrusion,
That's so cool.
quickly goes, security clearance confirmed. You now have full access. I'm afraid my power systems are draining and it will deactivate the facility if I continue to remain online. I shall go into standby mode for now. If you need me, please ask.
Thank you.
Where's he standing by?
I think it means it's no longer going to be talking to us, but it's watching us.
If we call out Quigley's name as a need for an assist, Quigley will appear. But it'll drain the power systems and we'll have to regenerate. Best to do this manually, whatever it is we're here to learn.
Yes.
Echo is staring at is staring at River, but it's not like fear. Because again, she ain't one to like her. She's not gonna judge where anybody came from ever. So, but what were you like? What is this?
Yeah.
Like look of just like it looks so like she looks impressed. Like
I think that River has like a moment of like I don't understand what like that look is, and so she misinterpreted it as like distrust or like fear almost, and just immediately is like, I promise I will explain it all later.
Fine by me.
It seems like we all got a lot of explaining to do, and I apologize to you there, Dr. Becker and Dr. Molina. It's just if it had come across from that glowing whoever that was that you all had been lying to us about this facility, I might have gotten a bit cross, but now I understand we're all on the up and up here.
And I very much looks at River when he says we're all on the up and up here. And he just kind of like puts the shotgun kind of on his shoulder instead of like actively out.
So when you say that, Dr. Becker just nods to you, but Skystone puts her hand on your shoulder and nods to you. And kind of is like giving you the tip of the hat, basically. What's up? What's up, Penny?
Can we find out now about like the meteor thing and stuff?
Yes, absolutely.
Please.
Dr. Molina moves over, and she's still looking at you, River, just going, I don't know how you did that. She sits down in one of the chairs.
Echo knows. Echo knows why.
I will just say, when she sits down, I do just like get kind of close to River, and I'm like,
I do believe I inquired about anything else that needed to be put before the committee.
and I don't say anything else.
Mm-hmm.
To Tego, she says, I said what I said. I stand by what I said. Nothing else from me.
It makes perfect sense to Penny. Like, everyone from Kaleno City works for Sati. Everyone knows that. Therefore, River, who can like do wibbly stuff to Sati things, was probably like the king of Sati. Like, this all checks out perfectly.
Dr. Molina begins to input inquiries, and you begin to see on that large screen that's in the back of the room that looms up. You can see easily what everything's being entered. You can see the key inputs on the bottom left corner. So imagine like a computer screen basically being projected up onto this glass. And as she's doing inputs, you all begin to see Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Neptune. You begin to see it all start popping up. You begin to see the belt.
Am I even aware of that? Like, I've kind of been a feral child. Like, I mean, do I even know about the arrangement of the solar system?
I mean, you're listening to, I mean, that's up to you. But Dr. Molina she goes, this is our solar system. Tracking to see. There's a deep space telescope on site. It's about, oh my God. There's another hidden bunker about 800 meters outside where they kept the telescope. It transmits its data back to here. Fascinating. It hasn't been activated in 80 years.
How many bunkers are there? Can we get in there? Does that tell us the meteor thing?
She runs a few more like inquiries into the computer, and you see there is another bunker here on site that looks like it's near where the telescope is, and it looks like a security bunker from the looks of it. And she just kind of says, oh, that's where they got their... I knew there was another bunker somewhere, but I thought it had been destroyed. There's so much seismic activity back then. Looks like everything's intact, though.
What are they called?
It looks like
Echo's like looking at the 00. What are the bunkers called?
It looks like it's part of 000E.
Oh, they're all E?
Site. Yeah, part of the same site. And she goes, I have it. Oh my God, I have it. She enters a couple of things, and on the monitor up on the screen, you see all of a sudden, almost like a three-dimensional display, it zooms in on Earth, and you see this line tracing across the solar system, and it zooms in on this glowing red comet with dates starting to play across it. And then you see the data readout. It says K-PG comet. 9 miles wide, currently traveling at 13 miles a second, last recorded, or roughly 46,800 miles per hour. The data readouts show that the comet is going to impact in Lower Laramidia, creating a crater that will end up being about 50 miles in diameter. 75% of all life on Earth is going to be extinguished over the next 6 months when this impacts. Calculations are that 95% chance that all humankind is wiped out in those 6 months.
How long, Doc?
When?
Looking for dates now. Oh my God. You see her face turn white as a sheet. And then for a second, she looks at all of you. And she glances up at Dr. Becker and she says, this facility was receiving information seconds after someone from Kalena was trying to reach this bunker. It looks like right after the last commute, they were sending out all of the orders. I see the kill order for the scientists in this bunker. Look, she brings it up. You see under the same data column that starts showing dates, you see some of the data that this bunker received when it was still operational is actually, it looks like it was receiving information and data months and months after the last commute, which doesn't contradict anything you all have heard, but some of the data comes in, looks like it's post-last commute data analysis. And the reason why that's interesting is because you see the date of the asteroid or the comet impact. As the data starts coming up on the screen, there's a lot of contradicting information that's coming up, but what you see is that the last commute has all of these time anomalies rupturing. You see data that's coming in that in plain language, it looks like correspondence between Kaleno City or the main SATI hub and this research facility. That time terrors and these time anomalies are all directly related to the destruction of time travel, the last commute. The splash effect that took place. You're also seeing that seems to have changed things. Because on the data readout, you see the trajectory of the comet go and move. It is now missing Earth. The comet's going to miss Earth by about 26,000 miles. And the Earth itself, since the shattering of the last event, has caused a temporal anomaly to sort of grow around the planet, which means that Earth itself is not functioning within normal space-time. There will be no known Cretaceous era extinction level event according to this computer.
Excuse me. I must be interpreting this falsely. Does that say that meteor is gonna miss the Earth completely?
It does.
Yeah, see, there's us right there, and then the meteor, and it's just going like a little bit above.
That's correct.
Doesn't that mean that it's gonna doom essentially untold billions of human lives to never be born, and also us not to be here? Like, shouldn't we have winked out of existence or some shit like that?
Dr. Molina says, no. No, it wasn't. It just means for us, that's the way it will be. See, in order for us to have traveled back in time, that future had to have occurred. So it did occur.
So the future is actually in the past?
It'll turn your brain to a noodle, but it essentially means...
I don't want a noodle brain. I like eating them.
Wait, no. That ain't the natural order. That rock is supposed to hit this planet, kill the dinosaurs and us along with it. If there was something that those Sati fuckers did to send it off course, there must be something to be done to right it again.
There's more here. I can see what they had to say.
You see Tego very begins doing his deep breathing thing and very much starts looking around for something to break, but is aware that all of this is priceless. So it's very much
Also, this is earth shaking for you, Echo. The butterfly's entire system of belief is that the inevitability to protect a future that now, if this data is to be believed, will not come. There will, if this data is to be believed, there will be no extinction event in the Cretaceous period.
Echo is just staring at the painted brand of this bunker's designation and is just staring at the E because of what Penny said and because of what Neri said. And she's just sort of saying it out loud to herself over and over and over. We decide the future. We decide the future. Oh my God. And she's sort of coming apart a little bit. That was too much information.
Kind of grabs her by the shoulders and
hey, we ain't the noodle brains here, okay? Wait, what, how, what, yes, what? Tell me something.
Said, we decide the future. She read my bones and she said that we decide the future. The four of us.
I don't know what that means.
She sees the future. She's a soothsayer. The future, the only thing that she could see was that we decided. We decided. This is...
Okay, that means we'll find a way, right? Because otherwise we wouldn't be able to decide because it already happened. It was just a thing. It already happened. But if we can decide it, that means that there's going to be a thing, right?
Okay. All right.
What do we decide? Who do we doom? Do we doom us again or we do...
Yes, that is what is supposed to happen. It is what happened.
But it already got undone.
I think we all can agree that Sati has made this world objectively worse, and they're about to make it permanently worse.
Existing on a past future.
I literally.
Who says we're not supposed to? Oh.
I just like against the wall. Like, I mean, like narratively, it's like the slapping, the pull yourself together, but it is just like boom, echo.
What if there is no supposed to be, Tego? What are we clinging to?
I agree with Echo.
What? Are y'all meaning to tell me y'all are okay with this eventuality? This ain't no world. This ain't meant to be.
Okay. But who's to say the other one was better?
Exactly.
Fate. Natural selection.
Becker speaks up at this point and just says, when this gets out, it's going to cause... I don't know. This is going to drive the population to either celebration or chaos.
Then it can't get out.
Guess we should decide what we want to do with this information. But either way, Tego, what are you proposing to alter this timeline to return us to the one that you think is correct?
Look. About 5 minutes ago, all those planets were dots in the sky to me, okay? But I woke up every day with one certainty that as chaotic as this world is, I knew how it ended. And that was how it's meant to be. Look, I ain't got it within my power to fly some rocket ship up to an asteroid or reset time or some other rejigification. But listen, Echo, your bone thrower said we decide, right? Well, if we were supposed to let it ride how it is, she didn't have to say shit. And this all would have gone and the meteor would have missed and the Earth went on. So apparently it is within our power to set things back on the right course.
Are you gonna start the fire again?
Fire?
That's what she kept asking me. If we were gonna start the fire again. I don't know what she meant.
I want a snack.
I like
Penny's hit overload. This is enough.
Some of the same jerky I was eating with Steenie, and I just like throw the package at them, whatever the bundle.
Penny will go out into the hallway a bit. I think the snack is about the space. It's not about the food. Though also thank you for the food.
Melina turns and says, the comet is going to miss us in approximately 4 months. In 4 months, a red comet will appear in the sky and people will start to know. 26,000 miles is going to be brilliant and terrifying to see. And then it's going to miss us. And then we don't know what happens next.
And that's how the future should be.
Is there any indication from your data readout or your holographic person or whatever that the last commute was intentional? If all the time distortions and ruptures are entangled with that event, did they do this on purpose, not just to cut us off, but to enshrine this timeline somehow?
We were still receiving data. I can look. Maybe there is some more here. I don't know. Let me see what I can find. She rubs her face, and you see her oldest living friend, Becker, puts his hand on her shoulder to give her strength, and she looks up at him, and these two survivors of the first commute are looking at each other. The impact on all of you, this is a world that you brought up. You were born into this world. So you grow up on the stories of what's supposed to come next. That the age of dinosaurs is to come to an end with a mass extinction level event that paves the way for the future of this planet and the evolution of the life here. And it's starting to dawn on all of you that humankind has once again overstepped its bounds with science and has entered into a realm where there's questions that are beyond the enormity of human understanding. What does this mean? And is it even possible to postulate whether this is right or wrong? How do you separate oneself from nature when you yourself are manipulating it? Like, it's a heavy burden for all of you to bear as you're looking at this data readout. You see her fingers on the data console, and she says, there is something here. This is unusual. And she brings it up and says, it's a transmission sent on the day of the last commute. And she brings it up on screen. And what it says, condition red, contingency measure Z activated. Catastrophic event at origin, threat level alpha. Contingency measure Z, abort Gravax C trials, scuttle project and data, destroy origin gate. It reads again. Condition red, contingency measure Z activated, catastrophic event at origin, threat level alpha, contingency measure Z, abort Gravax C trials, scuttle project and data, destroy origin gate.
Can River try searching the Gravax trials? Like, basically,
Gravax C trials was the project of Sati coming back through time, and establishing a civilization here for research. It's why you're all here.
Got it.
It was the first commute. It was the last commute. This was all called the Gravac or Gravaxi trial, the grand experiment of Sati. I'll read it one more time. Condition red, contingency measure Z activated, catastrophic event at origin, threat level alpha, contingency measure Z, abort Gravaxi trials, scuttle project and data, destroy origin gate.
Do we know where that origin gate was located?
Yes, I think that should be our next.
I mean, presumably Kaleno City, but who can say?
The other
origin gate. Dr. Molina speaks up.
Yeah.
And you see Becker's looking at her, and they look at each other. And she says, the origin gate. And Becker says, the origin gate is the code name for the gate on the other side. The gate from the future. The origin gate is where we all came from.
So something went catastrophically wrong there that they were trying not to let here?
They scuttled the project and destroyed the gate on purpose. Threat level alpha. I've never heard of contingency measure Z. What madness would have made them destroy the gate and leave us all in the past? They did this on purpose. They destroyed the origin gate. Amalia, why? And she looks at all of you and says, all I know is something must have gone terribly, terribly wrong. And it might mean that we are the last of humanity. That's your ending button for today's episode.
What a doozy!
You.
Thanks. I hate it. This is supposed to be a good day, Eric.
Thanks, I hate it.
Supposed to be a good day.
We save democracy, but we also,
Also, I see your measure Z, you little.
Yup. I was like, why not? You little. Go ahead. I'm awarding all of you 4 experience points. You did a lot of great role playing. You discovered essentially the secrets of Silvercreek, the secrets of the future. You've uncovered a hint as to why the last commute happened. And you've now discovered that there will be no extinction level event. There will be
on our end.
On your end, there will be no future as you knew it.
Have fun Dino
Saturday.
That's going to do it for us here. Thank you, Stream Punks, for this game. B Dave's going to go get some oxygen. The rest of us are going to go decompress.
Yes, it's a gentlemanly time for day drinking already. I think. You know?
Exactly. I know.
Right there it is. Yeah. I will say, somebody texted me. A friend of all of us texted me and was like, "I waited till 11 to start drinking. I felt that was appropriate." I'm like, I reject appropriate drinking hours and all the other lies of the before times. Like linear time no longer exists. Just
as we learned today in our game,
there is no future.
There is no linear time.
There is only Zool.
I just want to carve no fate.
Yeah, exactly.
No
on like some picnic bench somewhere.
Terminators, yeah. Yep.
So before we go, I just wanted to say that this campaign was unlocked through the donations of the Aux crew to help launch the Stream Punks. And I had a suspicion that when this game launched that it was going to become a gym. And playing with you guys, playing dinosaurs and playing the time shenanigans, which you know I love, and all of this stuff, this has just been a delight. We still have 3 more episodes to go. So we're not done yet, but I just wanted to acknowledge how this quiet little game that we run on Saturdays has just become such a thing that I look forward to every week. So thank you, players. Thank you, Stream Punks. And thank you, Aux Crew, for joining us. And VOD Squad, we see you and we love you. To everyone else out there, holy shit. Exhale. Let yourself take this moment and take care of yourself. But also, give yourself permission to exhale a little, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Until the next time, my friends, we will see you on Clear Skies on Monday night here on QueueTimes. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you then.